Good morning and welcome to the Cloffice. I hope that you are well this morning. First of all, I'd like to extend my condolences to the families and friends connected with UNCC and with the tragic shooting that happened yesterday. Our prayers are with you. May you know the peace of the Lord during this season. I find it really interesting because I've been reading 1 Samuel and been preparing for today's Cloffice and reading about David and Saul and the interaction that was taking place and how Saul just kept going after David. But what David was so clear on was that he wasn't supposed to touch the Lord's anointed and that God would take care of it. God would avenge him no matter what. And the Lord would take care of what needed, the justice in that situation. And the Lord just really started reminding me how important it is in our life that we do not touch the Lord's anointed, even if they're doing something wrong, that we allow the Lord to take care of it. And I found it so interesting in the situation with David and Saul was that David was with the Philistines, and the Philistines were coming against Saul and the Israelites, and David was going to march on with them. He had been serving alongside of them and with them for over a year. And the other leaders are like, no, we don't want him with us because when he gets to his people, he might turn on us. So they sent him home, him and all his men. And I found that very interesting because then when it came time for the Philistines to fight against Saul and all his men, they were able to finish the job without any of those conflicts in place. And the story is very interesting, and I encourage you to go take a look at it. It's in like 28, 29, 1 Samuel chapter 28 and 29. But what I noticed, there was three main reasons that I could see of why in the Lord's big picture, why he sent David and his men back to their home instead of allowing them to fight. Number one, his oath to not touch God's anointed, because it wasn't him that killed Saul. Saul ended up falling on his own sword and put himself to death because he didn't want to be captured by the Philistines. Number two, his oath and his friendship to Jonathan. He didn't have to have any confrontation with Jonathan. It was the Philistines against them, and David was free from that because he had made an oath to Jonathan of their friendship. And what we say and the commitments that we make, our words are so important. And the third thing was when they got back, when David and his men got back, they realized that all their women, their children had all been captured and taken away. And so they were able to go after them and rescue their wives and the women and children and bring them all back. And so it's so important that we follow the leading of the Lord because we don't know what he has for us to do in what season. And it's so important that we don't just try to go after things that we want vengeance for or go after things that we feel we need to make right. It's so important that we allow God to be God and we walk in purpose with him and do only what he calls us to do because he has a great purpose and a great plans, and we want to be part of that plan, not hinder that plan. So I encourage you today, walk closely with the Lord, be attentive to what he tells you to do, and have an amazing day. God bless.